Welcome back to Heard It Here. I'm Kaylee Mason, your host and beef advocate. We are super excited to show off our new setting in our studio. We're taking things a little bit different direction and kind of making it a different environment. So we hope that you enjoy this episode and our upcoming episodes. Joining me is the bull sale manager, Lakota Downs, and a freshman, Riley. They are going to talk with us today about our beef program and our bull sale and test and kind of what it's like to be on the student side of it. We've really talked a lot to the consigners and how they feel about it. So we want to see what you guys think about it. So Lakota, do you want to talk about your role as bull sale manager and what this semester and really the last 2 years have looked like for you, because we're both sophomores?
Yeah, so bull sale manager this year, completely changed my role through the bull sale. Deal a lot with the consigners, on the phone a bunch, kind of starting to slow down on that as we're getting closer to sale day. Got to make a lot of new relations and just conversations with guys and learn a lot about them individually and their operations and stuff on that, which to me is very encouraging. To see how guys are doing things and why they chose us. Through the last 2 years, the whole bull sale's gets you very involved compared to everything else. A lot of hands-on experience that I've gotten to receive and knowledge I can take with me into the future for whatever the rest of my life looks like that I can't figure out. But it's been very good. A lot of hands-on experience and have definitely been a lot of extra work being bull sale manager this year than last year at different times, and a lot of hours spent on the phone or spreadsheets and everything else. But I think it's been very beneficial for me for sure this year.
Well, and you, obviously there was a different bull sale manager last year. Sophomores get roles every year. Kyler was our manager last year. Do you feel like he had a role in how you have kind of stepped up into this?
Well, yeah, I still keep in pretty good contact with Kyler. Talk to him at least once a week. So when I first got this deal, we kind of talked a lot about it, kind of like what it was all going to entail. And he kind of gave me a heads up and prepared me for what I already gotten myself into, which definitely was kind of helpful. I think he did a very good job as a bull sale manager. He was easy to work with. He was always willing to work and stuff. And he showed everybody the right way to do anything, even though nobody was watching all the time. He was very correct with what he did. And that kind of, I think, set me up for the right way, seeing somebody like that, somebody's like, okay, that's how I need to conduct myself. And he definitely helped me out when I was first getting into this, and we were talking about the whole thing of what to expect and all that. So yeah, very much.
Awesome. Well, Riley, you're freshman this year. So you have a manager position next year, hopefully. And it might not be bull sale manager, but there are other positions out at the beef unit, being in the beef production program. From a freshman's perspective and seeing a bull sale preparation for the first time, what is it like for you? Like, have you ever been in a picture pen, any kind of bull sale prep? Like, what is that like for you?
Well, I've never been involved with anything like this, so I did 4-H, so I kind of know the sale end of it. It's probably pretty different, but, the picture pen was interesting, at least, with seeing how many different parts go into that, and then just preparing for bull sale has been a lot.
Do you think this is something that you would continue after you graduate?
I want to. I like learning about all this stuff and seeing how many different steps go into it, and hopefully the end result is as fun as the process of everything was.
Yeah. It is a lot of work, and students put in a ton of hours and time that we don't count, we don't document it, and it may be part of the program in the class, but we do a lot more than what regular class hours would be. So I applaud both of you. As
it would be curious to figure out how many from start to finish of when we got bulls to into sale day, how many man hours we spend. Just clipping and torching, that's a full day for a pair of kids to clip and torch their bulls, and then we have 3 full days between picture and videos for the most part. And be curious on how many total man hours go into start to finish. I mean, just day-to-day feeding stuff on top of everything else to get them ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and talk to us about the grow safes and what those are, why they're important for the bull sale.
So our grow safe system, we have 2 pens with grow safe bunks. We can put just about 50 head, just shy of 50 head in our 2 pens. That gives us a tremendous amount of data, a lot more than we can get any other way. The grow safe's big thing is looking at feed efficiency and feed conversion ratios to how efficient that bull is from his dry matter intake to pounds of gain to pounds he put on, and how he compares to everybody else in that program on the grow safe system. I have our kind of spreadsheets that we got back this year. And when we're looking at this, a big number for our grow safe numbers that we look at a lot are the RFI, the residual feed intake. So you want the lowest number possible. We had bulls. I don't know what our numbers were like this last year. I should have looked to kind of compare to see how bulls did last year compared to this year. I didn't think about that till right now. But we had some bulls. I mean, a negative 2.81 and 2.57, 2.47 were our top 3 for the RFI for the residual feed intake. And then we also get a bunch of other numbers back through this. The RADG, which goes off their predicted gain from their dry matter intake to what they actually gained, which you want a higher number. So if they're a positive number, they outperformed what they were predicted to do off their intake, which that bull we had that won our grow safe this year, we interviewed the producer, the consigner of him, and that PE041 bull was the 3rd best in the RFI, and then was number 1 in his predicted daily gain versus what he actually did, with a 1.03, which was the highest out of all the bulls we had on test. We also get other numbers back, get a more precise average daily gain. We still weigh all of our bulls about every 2 weeks, and we can kind of break down what every bull's average daily gain is on our other 2 pens of bulls. We kind of have to take an average of what they ate. So if we're averaging feeding every bull 32 pounds a day, we don't know if he's eating more or less than that than everybody else. We just know that's the average in that pen. So that's the number we have. So it's not maybe as accurate as these, where we know the actual pounds that bull ate every single day, and how much he gained. So again, that bull that won our grow safe, our test was gained over 5 pounds a day. We had a couple bulls go over 5 pounds a day for the time while they were here, which is very good for the guys who buy these bulls, and mainly the guys who get their calves out of those bulls, the backgrounding and the stocker guard, stuff like that, to have calves that are going to get there and go to work and put the weight on and more efficient for them. They also look at our dry matter intake, our average dry matter intake, every day. So that kind of goes into that RFI of how efficient they're being for the pounds that they're taking into their body versus how much weight they're putting on, how much they're using those nutrients and absorbing and actually turning that into weight, which, the more efficient they're being, the more profitable you're going to be. You're not pouring feed into an animal that's not gaining weight. And they do a lot of feed conversion ratios and then an adjusted feed conversion ratio. I'm not exactly sure what all goes in to the adjusted, how they adjust it. Those numbers are pretty similar, but they do change a little. I think it kind of evens them out a little more on that adjusted feed conversion. You can compare them a little bit more animal to animal. So that's the main numbers we get back from our grow safes, and numbers that a lot of producers and buyers may look at to kind of decide on what they're going to decide to do on sale day.
So then a lot of those numbers are included in the catalog, and with the bulls and their EPDs and some pretty important numbers that help buyers decide what they want to put into their herd. In like Stephen Kaiser, we had him on our previous interview. He made a really good point, and I think it's something that everyone keeps saying is our bulls this year, there's a bull for every kind of producer, and no matter what you're looking to put into your herd, we have a bull for that. And so I think that's a really cool advantage for upcoming producers and upcoming consigners, future consigners, that they're going to see that they're going to get those kind of numbers from this bull test, and they're going to continue to improve their herd.
And that's the one advantage. You're talking about there's a bull for everybody out there in our pens. That's the advantage, I guess, of having 15 consigners this year.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 15.
Having 15 different consigners is everybody breeds for different things. Everybody's looking at different numbers differently. Not just having different breeds all at the same sale, but just having, even in the same breed, guys are going to vary on what they're looking for and everything else. And depending what you're looking for, there's about one that can fit your operation and go from there. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah. So Riley, from your point of view, obviously these numbers, they can be really overwhelming. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to remember, but there's information, and especially on the back of those packets that we have, like explaining what they are, and especially what Lakota was just talking about. But from your perspective, with all those numbers put aside, do you see a difference in the bulls from when they first came in?
I think so. There's definitely been a lot of growth in the pens and everything, so that's been interesting to see. You don't really notice it all that much because you're out there almost every week. So being a producer and coming in like once a month or something like that, they probably notice it a lot more than what the students do, working with them all the time.
So Riley, as far as bull prep, we did a lot for picture day and video day. What did that entail, and had you ever done any kind of clipping before?
I've done clipping before with being in 4-H and involved in like showing cattle and everything. So that came pretty easily. Other than that, like all of the bull prep, like it's pretty new to me. So doing it for the first time definitely was fun and a little overwhelming, but still got it done.
Mm-hmm. And you're in the clipping class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a heifer that's actually going to sell in the sale that you clipped. So talk about that. Like compare that to 4-H to this.
Well, having the clipping heifer and everything, you got to like halter break her and everything so she can walk on the halter. Her name's Lola. She's the tamest out of all of them probably.
How does that compare to like 4-H setting? How does clipping the heifer compare to getting the bulls ready for sale day?
Mm-hmm.
It prepared more for like clipping on the bulls and everything. So you had a little bit more practice before you actually went and clipped a bull that was getting pictured like pretty much right away and everything.
Well, and in your heifers, they're halter broke, and they're a lot more tame than these bulls that have never been handled like that. And so we had to be really careful, if you're clipping them and they go to jump, you just took a divot out of their hair, and now it's not going to grow back and look very nice.
Yeah.
So I bet that was a little bit different for you too.
Yeah. Taught you how to have a steady hand and fast reflexes to pull back pretty quick once you've seen the bull start moving.
So as a sophomore, we've done bull prep for 2 years now.
Yes.
Do you think anything compared between the 2 years, or like now that we've done it for 2 years, do you think you would ever do it again?
I'd do it again if I was in a situation and needed to. It's definitely knowledgeable and knowing how. Bull sale prep was new to me until I got here, the way we do it. Between the 2 years, it was a little different. We had two different people kind of show us, between last year and this year, had two different people show us how they do it. And there was a lot of differences in their processes. Still accomplished the same outcome, I believe. But it is different in the way they each go about it and the way they probably learned and everything else and the way they've always done it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There's several ways to get the same job accomplished. It's just kind of personal preference. There's maybe a few things I would change and take some from one and some from the other and do 'em a little different than we have the last 2 years. If I was to do them again for an operation that kind of, if I was going to do them for myself or whatever, I'd probably kind of have a third way of doing it. There's some things I like and dislike about both ways. So as a personal opinion, so
Yeah. Well, and you grew up in 4-H,
yes.
didn't you? So
Yes.
you had a little bit of like the prep experience, not just the bull sale.
Yeah. Grew up with a bunch of 4-H animals. Showed some calves, showed a lot of sheep and goats, for me personally, but then also got to deal with, a neighbor and a good buddy of my dad's that does sell a lot of 4-H animals and a lot of bulls and quite a few bulls every year. So I kind of seen some of that, never really did it hands on like we did when we got here. Kind of heard about it, whatever else, and been around a little bit, but it was different. It's completely different getting these bulls ready for a sale and or picture and video day than getting an animal ready for the show ring. They're two complete different spectrums of what you're trying to accomplish. So there's a lot of difference between them, but it does get you comfortable. Like kind of Riley said, you're a lot more comfortable clipping on them, especially if you've used clippers a lot. It's still pretty much the same on different aspects, just a little bit different about maybe how you go about it, as these bulls haven't been handled in a way like that. And for them, some of them are pretty good about it, and others do not enjoy being confined and messed with for 30, 45 minutes to get cleaned up and ready for picture and video day. So some of them, it's, fast reflexes and kind of paying attention to the animal and kind of how he's acting and moving as fast as you can to get him out of there, because the longer they stand, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
While still doing a good job.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I didn't grow up in any of it. I was a little girl that got a pony for Christmas, and that was it. I never had cows. I really didn't even have horses growing up. My pony stayed in his pen most of the time. So I don't have any ag background. So coming into this, I was completely flabbergasted, if you will. Like, how do you get these animals so clean and picture perfect, if you will? Because Keller really did a good job of that, getting them, the perfect pictures for our catalog.
Yep.
And so like the backside of it, us getting the bulls cleaned up and ready, I had never done that. And I was really grateful last year to have actually won the clipping contest with Cade Hom. He was my partner last year. So we're all very excited to see who won it this year. But to not have done any kind of prep and then come in and now had Marty last year and Emma this year, like you said, two different instructors showing us how to do the clipping, I was able to take two different opinions and kind of make my own with it. Like you said, like you wanted to have a third.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really cool experience to get to do that. So luckily we don't have to do that again this year.
We are done for this year.
Yes.
We're done. Didn't get it. It is a long couple days
Yeah.
to get it all done, and it's nonstop and on your feet constantly.
Yeah. So on top of bull sale prep, we've got quite a few other things going on in our program. We're kind of in the middle of calving. So we all are going through our feed weeks. We all have to schedule out feed weeks around our schedules, and we all have calving checks that we go through on top of, weighing bulls and our other classes that we have. And like I said earlier, we put a lot of hours into the program outside of our regular classes. So we definitely have to learn how to balance our time. So how do you guys do that? Like between all of your classes and whatever else we have to do out at the beef unit?
The use of a calendar.
Yeah.
Logging everything. I never really used one until I got to college, which granted, I also had a mom that was on top of everything all the time and gave me reminders. By myself, I've had to really learn how to, if I agree to do something or whatever else, or there's something that has to happen, get it in my calendar and be very on top of things. It is the only way I can seem to function now, because I feel like there's something going on outside of normal life about every day. Something different, this and that. And especially with some other school duties that I've been a part of, it gets very busy at times. And with calf checks having to go through the night, and like RA duties and stuff, making sure all that's on different nights. And then we have study hall on Mondays, making sure I keep everything organized. But a calendar has become my best friend for sure.
I'm not as involved like Lakota, so mine's a lot easier. It's just kind of scheduling around what beef production has for me. So if I have an empty week, that usually goes down as my feed week, and then I schedule things around my feed week or around my calf checks or anything like that.
So obviously every student has a different experience with it all.
Yeah.
And for me, I've got a 2-year-old. And so having to be a mom and figure out, oh my gosh, can I be at the beef unit at the same time as everybody else? No, because the daycare isn't open at that time. And so, scheduling around my son, but still being held to the same standard as everybody else, that's kind of my challenge. But I'm super grateful for all of my classmates. If I have to take Gus to the doctor for some last minute thing, or I'm sick or anybody is sick, I think we all do a really good job of taking care of each other, because there are fewer of us this year. We step up when someone needs to go down or isn't able to make it. But I think overall, everyone does a really good job this year of holding themselves to that standard too, and not dipping out because it's too hard.
Yeah. It's one of those things too. I agree with what you're saying. And if you're willing to step up and help somebody out, they're normally willing to help you back out. And I think that's kind of across the board in the ag industry kind of a thing. You show you're going to work, they'll help you out in the same way. So, which works out really good, trying to balance everything and keep schedules aligned and working with each other to make it work for everybody. Sometimes somebody gets the short end of the stick or whatever else, but somebody's got to be there, feed weeks or calf checks, whatever else. So
I want to talk about the good things, because the good and the rewards of it really outweigh all of the long, hard nights of the calving and the long nights of the clipping. It all comes first full circle at the bull sale. I think we'll really reap what we sow. And so I want to hear what your guys' favorite or most memorable part of the prep was.
Yeah, well, beside the sale itself and seeing everybody and seeing the bulls that consigners trusted us with all winter and seeing them sell and, giving those consigners a paycheck at the end of the day. I'm a huge fan of picture day. I love it. I don't know, something about it. It's kind of different. You got to have a different attitude going into it. It is a very long day on your feet. And you may make a goof of yourself trying to get ears or whatever else and get that bull take that half step to set himself just right. But I am a big fan of picture day. There's something about it. And I think that kind of came from the show world. I've watched, hundreds of online sales and didn't quite realize how much work goes into getting that bull pictured. That is insanely challenging. And I think that may be something I like about it is the challenge. Sometimes it's easy. You definitely appreciate the ones that walk in and stop and pick their head up and do it perfect right off the bat. But I do enjoy the picturing day of it. And especially this year, getting to meet with Keller. Somebody did a very good job at what he was doing and had made it fun while doing it. It is, by the time the end of the day gets there, you're ready to be done. But he definitely made it enjoyable and everything. But yeah, picture day is probably my favorite activity in the bull sale prep side of things. So
awesome.
My favorite activity was the clipping, because there was 2 to 3 groups there clipping, so it was just everybody just kind of hanging out and getting it done. And then picture day too, because everybody's just in a good mood and you're doing your work, but you're having fun with it is what's really going on and everything. So I find that enjoyable, and that was probably one of my favorite parts.
What was your favorite part?
I can honestly say I don't have a single
Favorite?
main favorite. I think just getting to experience it, I really enjoy. Because like I said, I didn't grow up in this. And so expanding my knowledge and the people you meet, I actually will say, I think getting to see the same people the last 2 years, like our carcass ultrasound guy, David, coming out and kind of being like, hey, how's it going? Like, I remember you from last year. Some of the consigners, we see a couple times. So I think the familiar faces and the community that we're building, I think that's my favorite part between all the bull sale kind of deal. All right. Well, I think that is all that we have for this episode of Heard It Here. We again had Riley and Lakota on with us today, and we went over quite a bit of bull sale prep and really just what we do as students out at the beef unit. And it's a lot of hard work, but we are really thankful to be in this community and this program. So we really thank Adelaide for being an amazing instructor, and we've hoped that we've beefed up your knowledge about our knowledge, but we will see you next time.